Hey guys, I realize it's been a little while since I did the last recording. I told you that the next time I came on, I was going to uh, have some research and have studied some more and have some more information for you. Um, well, let's see, update. I did go see a rheumatologist. I'm not that excited about this rheumatologist. She may very well have what I would call short term, or, oh, what do you call that when you only have a couple months left? She's going to be leaving the practice. So uh, I don't know that she really wanted to spend a lot of time getting to know me and my issues. But from what I understand, this is relatively par for the course with the doctors and rheumatologists. You're fairly lucky to get one that listens to you and helps you understand and navigate through all of the things that you're going through. The responses out of her were, yeah, it does look like you have rheumatoid arthritis, and you're in the beginning stages. And I had a couple questions. For some reason, my instincts tell me that that's not entirely the case. I don't know why that is, but that is how I feel. Um, so clearly I could be wrong on that, but I have a tendency to listen to my instincts a little bit more. So I like to have a doctor who is listening to basically all the details, no matter how seemingly insignificant they are. I want them to have as much understanding as I can possibly relate to them so we can find some answers. However, it is seemingly true or ringing true that the medical profession is, well, lacking in this endeavor to really get to know the patients. And I can't necessarily fault them. This particular rheumatologist that I went to see, they were backed up over 8 months just to get in to see her. So I don't know what it's going to be like when they get the new one. But I am a little concerned about it because it won't be until September before they have a new one. She is leaving, I believe, in June. But I did get in. Her first response was that she wanted to put me on methotrexate, or I'd have to look up the full name. But she wanted me to wait yet another month. Now, this poses a problem for me because since November of last year, I have been on prednisone. Now, many of you who are dealing with these kinds of issues are familiar with prednisone. And I've been on it far too long, as far as I'm concerned. It looks like I have probably gained, well, I'm staying at a steady pace, about 5 pounds a month. I can tell that it's definitely from the prednisone. I'm not working out, obviously, so it's just, you know, packing on the pounds, and I'm definitely hungry, more hungry than I was before, but um, not to the extent of the amount of weight that I've actually put on since I've had them. I have changed my diet drastically. I think I said that in the last video, where I am, um, you know, taking out all gluten. Um, I I haven't gone full no dairy, but I don't seem to have issues with it. I'm not entirely sure. I know that I do with the gluten for sure. Sugar, as much as I possibly can. There are a lot of foods that have sugar in them. However, I can say this: since I haven't been, eating as much sugar, um, I am enjoying the oranges and fruits. They're seemingly a lot sweeter than they were before. So I'm happy about that. back to the rheumatologist. Like I said, I was rather disappointed. And, I was warned about that as well. I'm also growing more and more disappointed with my nurse practitioner, which is my primary care. Now, I don't know if it's just the level of frustration that I'm at and dealing with the issues, or if personally, I just feel like I'm not being heard. The doctor I had before, which treated my hypothyroid and Hashimoto's, was Dr. Moore. He was also functional medicine. He has a certificate in functional medicine as well as being a nutritionist. So he fully understood that I wanted to go as natural as I possibly could. And you know, I I really appreciated the fact that he worked with me on that and listened to what I said, and would tell me what vitamins I need to add to my actual regimen. Whereas these other doctors, the nurse practitioner in town, no, she just is asking me if I've tried this drug or tried that drug, and I just said I just really don't want to try drugs to try them. I um, don't want to take them all together. So um, let's just get through seeing the rheumatologist, and we'll kind of go from there. But anyway, so everything I've read so far, so I go online and I read some of the forums and blogs and whatnot, and everything I've read so far. Excuse me, my nose is running. I was a little cold today. Um, but everything that like I said, everything that I've read so far, I'm just finding that really truly across the board, our medical system um, is seriously falling short on the things that we can do for autoimmune. All right. Now, I know we're right in the middle of this pandemic, which to me is even worse of a scenario than, I mean, for all of us. And especially with with the autoimmune, um, yeah, making sure that you're as healthy as you possibly can and strengthening your immune system every chance you possibly can get. That's definitely what I'm doing. I'm taking vitamin D orally. It's they're drops that I'm taking. I am taking zinc. I'm on hydroxychloroquine. I have obviously prednisone. I'm trying not to take that. I just I just don't like that drug. And of course, a multivitamin for women. I'm taking vitamin B, vitamin D, DHEA. Um, let's see, thyroid support, natural thyroid support, uh, vitamins, I guess, or it's a proprietary blend. Anyway, my point is this: I am doing everything I possibly can to um, keep the inflammation at bay. And I do. I have good days and I have bad days. And I've had seemingly quite a few bad days. So, anyway, enough of that. I just want you to know that I'm doing as much as I can to stay away, stay in the house. And for those of you who have autoimmune, definitely stay away from people. My whole life, I've had a very strong immune system. I have, well, my mom was a nurse, so we hardly ever went to the doctor and played in the dirt. And she was a firm believer of, oh, your kid has chicken pox, let me bring mine over, kind of thing. So um, for my whole life, I've had an amazing immune system. So I'm a bit perplexed as to where it went wrong and how it went wrong, other than the amount of stress the environmental factors I was in. I want to there. I'm lining up a series of tests I want to have done. Um, I'm going to do I think it's a metal toxicity test, and there's only one type of test that really is a standard, and that's called Melissa. Um, and the reason I'm going with them is I think they are from the testing is done or from Sweden, and it was back when I was looking up when I had lost my implant because my body started to reject it. So I think that is, um, well, I think it's indicative of the autoimmune. It's my body saying, "Hey, this is something that's foreign. I want it out of here." So very few people have their uh, implants rejected that we know of here in the US. However, in Sweden, it's something different altogether. They are realizing it is not a permanent solution. And there are people who build up a toxicity with the titanium, excuse me, and or, sorry, built up toxicity with titanium. And it is a very much like an allergic reaction where I guess over a period of time, the titanium has a tendency to break down and get into the system and travel. So it's different than any other kind of metal allergy or toxicity. Now, this isn't web baloney, if you will. These were oh, I think they're medical journal papers that I was reading on one of the sites through Sweden and some of the studies that were done. So, anyway, the test is called Melissa. There's only 2 locations in the US that do that. Otherwise, I have to get a doctor to approve it so I can have it done by a doctor. And then it has to be shipped to, I think the closest one is Germany. And they will ship that. We can ship that. It has to be there within, I think, 48 hours. So, long story short, I'm going to have to wait on that test until after the coronavirus gets all cleared up. And so that's one of the ones I'm going to do. I plan on seeing a naturopath in this process. And I would like to, if I can get a naturopath with functional medicine, and I'll tell you a little bit about that in just a minute. But with functional medicine, I think that's going to help me greatly. Uh, the other thing I'm working on is, well, I already went to see an acupuncturist. So I hear acupuncture works really well with inflammation, and it seemed to work pretty well for the first couple days. And I had a follow up appointment, but of course I had to cancel. So I'll have to get back into doing that as soon as I'm able to do that. I do see a chiropractor because on the inflammation happens. I think my, you know, bones can get out of whack. I know my hips get out of whack and my back starts hurting. So I do try to take care of myself in that way. So anyway, I'm doing all these little things that I possibly can to help myself as much as possible. Of course, there's meditation, hypnotherapy, um, and really trying to focus mentally and physically on the things that I need to do. Now, I told you before that I was going to give you some information on what I've been studying. This is a book. I actually just downloaded this from on Audible. I use Audible. Other people can, whatever they want. You can order the book. I like to listen to books personally, but anyway, I've only started just a little bit into it. I have a lot more to do. So that's one of the books I'm reading. Now, going with the autoimmune, I'm also looking at, it's called Thyroid Healing. And there's some recipes and things I can do for, food that I think is going to help me tremendously. So this guy is pretty amazing, Anthony William. I'm really liking what he has to say. Makes a lot of sense. Like I said, though, I'm not going to give you details right now because I need to, um, or I want to get through more of the books than just, you know, start spouting off what I think is the answer to everything. Here's the other one that I'm reading. It's called Celery Juice. I know some of you have read about it. Um, I'm going to be juicing here soon, so I'm going to let you know how I feel about that. Um, and I'm going to be showing you stuff like now. My wrist is my worst part of me, so it gets pretty swollen. It's not too bad right now, but I do have some. I'm on some ibuprofen, and well, I can't really tell in here in this light, but it gets pretty bad. So it swells up right through here. I had carpal tunnel surgery in both my hands, and it seems that a lot of the inflammation centers around the scar tissue that might be inside of my hands. I noticed that I have some lumps over here, and these ones, um, I I know that I broke my arm here when I was younger, and so there's possibly scar tissue there. This finger swells up really big. It's pretty bad right now where the knuckle is misshapen, but um, the X-rays still look good. They don't look like it's messed up as far as the RA is concerned. But I also broke that finger, so I know that there's scar tissue in there too. So I don't know what is going on with that as far as there's some kind of connection there. It just seems to me that there is. So anyway, I'm looking at the celery juice, the medical medium, and thyroid healing. I've got a lot of stuff I need to, basically just turning my world upside down as it is for many of you out there. So um, I'm going to do what I can to find the information that I can and, you know, start putting things together for uh, everyone to try. And I'm going to set up a Facebook page for all of us to get on and talk about the different things that we've done so that we can learn from each other. I think that's going to help us tremendously.